Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution is by far the longest out of all the articles. It's made up of 10 sections and describes the federal legislative branch, otherwise known as Congress. I'm going to show you everything that's in Article 1 of our Constitution, section by section, in a way that's easy for you to understand. So just sit back, relax, and let me do the talking. Section 1. Congress has the power to make laws. Congress is made up of two houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Section 2, the House of Representatives. Representatives serve for 2-year terms. Their elections are held every 2 years. It also lists the qualifications of representatives. Representatives must be at least 25 years old, they have to have been a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, and they have to be a resident of the district they want to represent. The census is held every 10 years to determine the congressional districts in each state. Each representative's district was originally capped at 30,000 citizens, although it's much higher now. Vacancies are filled by state-held elections. The House chooses its own speaker and officers. The House has the sole power of impeachment. If they vote for an impeachment, it goes to the Senate to be tried. Section 3, the Senate. Senators serve for 6-year terms. Their elections are held every 2 years. There are 3 classes of senators, so only 1/3 of Senate seats are up for grabs in any given election year. Each state gets 2 senators. Each senator gets 1 vote in the Senate. Section 3 lists the qualifications of senators. Senators must be at least 30 years old, they have to have been a U.S. citizen for at least 9 years, and they have to be a resident of the state they wish to represent. The Vice President is the President of the Senate. They only vote when a tiebreak is needed. The Senate chooses its own officers and the President pro tempore, which is just the Senate President when the Vice President is busy. The Senate tries all impeachments. During an impeachment trial, all members are under oath. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presides if the President is on trial. A 2/3 majority vote is needed to convict, and an impeachment trial only removes a person from office. It's not a criminal trial. All right, guys, hang in there. We're halfway through. Section 4. Congressional elections are regulated by each state's legislative branch. Congress can, by law, make or alter those regulations. Congress meets at least once per year on January 3rd. It used to be the first Monday of December, but that was changed by the 20th Amendment. Section 5. The powers and duties of Congress. A quorum, or a simple majority of legislators, is needed to be present in session to conduct business. Congress decides the legitimacy of congressional election outcomes. Each house sets its own rules, punishes its members, and can expel a member with a 2/3 majority vote. Each house must keep a record of its proceedings and votes, and publish them, except for content they believe requires secrecy. A positive vote of 20% of the members can override that exception, making the item public anyway. A House of Congress cannot change the location of their sessions or adjourn for more than 3 days unless the other chamber says it's all right to do so. Section 6 is rights and disabilities of members. Legislators are paid out of the national treasury. Their conduct as legislators cannot be tried in civil court cases. They cannot be arrested for non-criminal activities while they're in session. Senators and representatives cannot hold position in other branches of government, and vice versa. Section 7, the legislative process, explains how a bill becomes a law. I won't get into that now because I wrote an awesome blog post that unpacks that whole process for you. The link is in the description below. Check it out. Section 8, powers of Congress. This is a long section. I've already made a video that explains this entire section. It lists all of the enumerated powers, so be sure to check it out. Section 9, the powers denied Congress. Congress could not outlaw the importation of slaves until 1808, but could lay taxes on the trade in the meantime. Direct taxes were prohibited until the 16th Amendment legalized income tax. Habeas corpus is not to be messed with, except in cases of rebellion or an invasion threatening public safety. Bills of attainder, or legislation that finds people guilty without a trial, and ex post facto laws, which is legislation that makes an act criminal after it's already been done, are prohibited. Duties and taxes on items exported from any state are prohibited. Laws favoring one state's ports over another's are prohibited. Congress must give frequent accounts of money spent from the Treasury. The United States cannot grant titles of nobility. Public officials cannot accept gifts or titles of any kind whatever without Congress's approval. And Section 10, the final section, powers denied to the states. States may not enter into treaties, alliances, or confederations, coin their own money, pass bills of attainder or ex post facto laws, we just went over those, grant titles of nobility, lay duties on imports or exports, or declare or conduct war. Whew, that was a ton of information. The framers of our Constitution had a lot of specific ideas for Congress, so they really ran with it. Don't feel like you have to memorize all this information. Just come back to this video whenever you need a refresher. For now, check out the next video in this series to see what the framers had to say about the office of the presidency. Don't worry, that article is really short.